press. Undisguisedly, CNN is Nigeria's newest face of foreign destabilization forces. Being full text of a press conference by the Coalition for Nigerian Movement, CNM, a version to the CNN's joiners, unprofessional, nefariously mercantile journalism, and the exemplary confirmation of its status as the newest face of the foreign destabilization forces against Nigeria, as reflected its biased and self-implicative but empty investigative documentary on the Lekki toll gate shootings held in Abuja, November 20, 2020. Ladies and gentlemen of the fourth estate of the realm, 1, it gives leaders and members of the Coalition for Nigerian Movement immense pleasure to welcome members of the media to this press briefing. Let us admit ab initio that the mandate of building Nigeria is a divine order given to every Nigerian from birth. Therefore, we appreciate your individual and collective roles in support of this sacred obligation this year. We are reluctant to remind Nigerians about the gauze and bloodbath which characterized the Endsars protests, especially in the southern part of the country. But it is expedient to speak out loudly against the sponsors of this bloodbath and carnages, against their own country and the foreign forces contracted to further execute Plan B, which have continued to promote the irrationally destructive and evil agenda of the dismemberment of Nigeria by desperate means. CNN is inconsolably saddened with the cable news network, CNN, the American-based and globally recognized cable network, latest justification of itself as a shameful betrayal of its professionalism. In the report, in its edition of November 18, 2020, on the so-called investigation of the Lekki toll gate shootings, the medium expanded the gamut of its influence in propagandic, inflammatory, and satanic motives, as always serviced by the enemies of Nigeria, hell-bent on triggering massive public crisis, anarchy, and veiled subversion of national security to discredit President Muhammadu Buhari. By the biased, crooked, hateful, and predetermined outcome of the CNN's report of Lekki tollgate shootings, it undermined every other patriotic interest in Nigeria, but excitedly replicated condemned old tales and elevated the agenda of the divisive and destructive forces, tirelessly working in conspiracy with foreign forces against the country. 5. We are dismayed and thoroughly embarrassed that CNN will condescend to stage out in such an undignified aura and unprofessional manner to run errands for disgruntled elements in the country. CNN wishes to intimate CNN that its narratives on the Lekki tollgate shootings in the report it's misplaced, misleading, and exposes the medium as contracted media machineries, which was doggedly determined to deliver on the assignment, but were frustrated by paucity of facts, and the desperation to twist reality has stained their image horribly. Many Nigerians are genuinely shocked at CNN's senseless and absurd quest to reinvent the sacred facts concerning the Lekki tollgate incidents. It is targeted to freshly inflame passions of anger and violence in Nigerians, through the falsified and unconvincing claims that soldiers of the Nigerian army fired live bullets at Endsars protesters and killed scores in the process. The media also justified the palpably violent protest as bloodless despite overwhelming destruction perpetrated by the protesters. But CNN is not surprised at CNN's latest outing because we have prophesied in the past that some foreign forces are in connivance with a few wealthy and disgruntled elements in Nigeria to destabilize the country. We have raised this alarm a number of times to the public that some foreign agents, after the disunity of Nigeria, were also adroitly behind the plots. The latest report by CNN in its edition of November 18, 2020, is a clear testimony. It is an unmitigated case of falsehood, mischief, and lies, which nicely indicated and proved incontestably that those who instigated the youth to set Nigeria on fire are now coming out obliquely to show themselves. That's why the CNN came back 29 clear days after the Lekki incidents to revive it, after the realization that the initial plot have been smashed by the federal government of Nigeria. To demonstrate that CNN has no corporate dignity and burdened by a tainted reputation, the attempt to rejig and twist the facts to give it a semblance of wrongdoing on the part of the federal government of Nigeria and security agencies. It was pushed to contradict its released casualty figures on a single incident now and its earlier report, yet irresistibly proceeded unperturbed because they were on a mission. Nigerians should bear us witness that the same CNN had ostensibly followed the hawks of some Nigerian social media activists on the Endsars protest by claiming a death toll of 38 persons killed by the soldiers at Lekki in its October 23, 2020 edition. 3 days after the incident, in reverse mode, 29 days later, precisely November 18, 2020, the same international news medium recanted itself after it said it devoted time to conduct a so-called thorough investigation of the Lekki toll gate shooting, but realized to the world a casualty figure of 2 persons. It was famed Othman Danfodio who told us, conscience is an open wound. Only truth can heal it. Even if CNN bent backward to accept the latest CNN self-discrediting report, which of the account of the casualties should Nigerians accept as true or false? Its previous casualty figure of 38 or the latest 2 persons? If CNN believes so much in its newest report of 2 dead persons, it should exhibit a functional corporate conscience to first retract its earlier report, apologize to the federal government of Nigeria and Nigerians publicly for the sensational reporting before the veracity of the present hogwash will even qualify for scrutiny. We also strongly take exemptions to CNN's current one-dimensional investigative documentary on the Lekki shootings. It defeats sound wisdom and abuses journalistic ethos profoundly for an international news medium which postures as conducting an independent investigation of a controversial public protest with 2 sides to be partial to the extent of completely ignoring a searchlight on the other side. But CNN conveniently did it. Its Not enough to claim official sources refuse to speak. Did the official sources speak before CNN coupled its mountain of lies in favor of the protesters? These are signs which have betrayed CNN's motives in Nigeria and exposed it as hired media machineries after a hatchet job. The CNN deliberate exclusion of the awfully barbaric killings of security agents, civilians, and the reckless destruction, looting of private and public properties of Nigerians by the Endsars protesters is apt expression of its battered professional reputation, and therefore it is dangerous to trust any report emanating from this channel as realistic anymore. CNN wonders why CNN never saw the quantum and magnitude of destructions by Endsars protesters. Imagine, and as verified by the federal government of Nigeria, the Endsars protesters murdered 57 civilians, 37 policemen, and 6 soldiers in the days of protest. They injured 196 policemen, destroyed 164 police vehicles, and set ablaze 134 police stations across the country. Furthermore, the protesters forcefully invaded 8 million security custodial centers in 6 states, freed 1,957 inmates, and injured 31 members of staff. In addition, the August of bloodbath ignited by the protesters also consumed 269 private corporate facilities with fire, looting, and vandalism, while 243 government facilities burnt, vandalized, and 81 government warehouses looted. Also touched were the infrastructures, equipment, and valuables of public institutions like the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, the Nigerian Customs Services, and Nigerian Immigration Service. It is hard to believe an impartial CNN never noticed or considered it worthy to reflect in their investigative report and qualified the protest as peaceful. The lives of Nigerians brutally terminated by the incensed protesters were less worthy of CNN intention, except the Wax massacre at Lekki tollgate. This medium must have its company motto designed and approved by Lucifer. CNN should wake up from the blind hatchet job it is contracted to do. Truth fights back. It goofed in Nigeria terribly, and the world is increasingly frowning at their public media mercantilism. It should accept the reality that some disgruntled elements are out to destabilize the country and recruited it consciously water this agenda to fruition. We know CNN as satanic agents, but Nigeria is a forbidden land to practice their trade. Let them look elsewhere. CNN wished to again console shocked Nigerians and the rest of the world that no one should be surprised again, as it is proven for the untenth time that some interested foreign forces were behind the protests across the country. But they will not break nor defeat our collective resolve to resist them mightily by the grace of God Allah. Thank you all, and journey mercies back to your various destinations. Signed, Coalition of Nigerian Movement of Nigeria, Abuja branch.
Okay. You can shake, sir. We are not shaking. If you are COVID, don't shake.
Okay, listen. Okay.
Chop.